All right. Hello, hello, hello. Tonight at the living room, 2921 Duff Road, where we are learning how to live healthy, even though we're living in a toxic world. December 22nd, coming up on Christmas. And we're going to talk a little bit as we end the year about that crazy thing called the mitochondria. Body nutrients turn into energy. And just in case you don't know or understand that food has a real purpose other than tasting great on the tongue or the palate, that food actually serves a valuable purpose, and food is supposed to be your medicine. And we're going to talk today about what really produces energy at the cellular level in your body that's going to help protect you and I from all kinds of crazy things that are out there trying to get us, but can't because we have fortified our personal God-given self-defense system. So let's get started here. Awesome. Let's keep going here and let's go to slide number 2. All right, bioenergetics, the new frontier of science of cellular energy. Yes, it all happens at the cellular energy. You live and die at the cellular energy. You started out as a one cell meeting another cell, and kaboom, there God created you as those two cells met and began to multiply. And so your cells, you either get disease one cell at a time, or you repair from disease one cell at a time. So those cells have to have a source of energy. Apart from this source of energy, we're in trouble because it's like a powerhouse. It's like a battery that has to run on a powerful source of energy. When the energy goes down, then the ability to charge and keep things functioning and running at a harmonious level and at a level that puts everything together and spits out an energy force to fight, we're in trouble. So let's dive in and take a look at what is the main powerhouse source of energy at the cellular level. Well, we're going to talk about the fact that NeoLife is the leader in cellular energy nutrition. By our very first pioneered beginnings, the birth of our beginnings in 1958, how we discovered the power of a living cell and its membrane, I like to call it its borders, and how it functions on its level of intelligence on allowing good things in and pushing the bad things out. It all happens at that cellular level. And so our Treonin was our very first formula that was developed about cellular nutrition. An unhealthy cell doesn't know how to let good nutrition in and locks up the toxins and doesn't know how to let the toxins out. I call it starved, stupid, and constipated cells. And then a healthy cell has the ability to raise its intelligence and be fully nourished and be able to detox at a level that it has a freedom to function fully and produce full levels of energy to keep the factory going. So let's take a look. This is a membrane of a cell. Because of our pioneered research that we've done with cellular energy and cellular nutrition, we actually are the pioneers for all our levels of nutrition based upon going back to the cell and how it functions and how it relates to the next cell and the next cell and the next cell, and producing all the body amazing systems that harmonize and work together. So the first thing is first, you have to make sure that the membrane of every cell is functioning accurately before those systems are going to come together harmoniously. All right, so we're going to talk about that amazing mitochondria function, how to keep your mitochondria happy. As a matter of fact, when I looked at this, I thought, well, it kind of looks like a bacteria. Well, the origins of a primitive mitochondria is bacteria. Didn't you and I come from the dirt, the soil? And some of the latest research is all about that soil and its amazing complexity of cities and different bacterial cultures that actually live in harmony one toward another in order to bring balance and harmony. So the mitochondria plays a major function in cellular activity and especially cellular energy. ATP, I'm not going to say the long word, adenosine, anyhow, it's a long word. So we're going to break her down to ATP. From breakdowns of sugars and fats for fuel, that's your foods, in the presence of oxygen. Without oxygen, you and I aren't going anywhere. And breaking down larger molecules into smaller to generate energy, catabolism, and then generate energy in the presence of O2, aerobic respiration. So in other words, it allows the cells to respirate, to breathe in, breathe out, push, pull, breathe in, breathe out, push and pull. So it's a mighty powerful working machine on your behalf to set all your body systems together in harmony. So the powerhouse of the cell, in other words, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Cells contain organelles, specialized units with different purposes. One of them is the mitochondria. They use carbon sources from the foods we eat to generate energy and store it in the form of a molecule called that ATP. So in other words, these mighty powerhouses have a powerful purpose, and they're part of a component of the cells that is quite essential. In fact, you can't live without it. In fact, the only cells in the body that doesn't contain large amounts of mitochondria are your red blood cells. And in the harmony and balance of our great creator, there's a reason why our red blood cells are the only cells that don't have and require large amounts of these mitochondria, because they don't have a nucleus, they don't hold DNA, they don't have RNA, or the maturity isn't mature. They evict most of their cellular machinery to hold more hemoglobin and oxygen, which enables oxygen and carbon dioxide to be exchanged to help them move easily through small capillaries. As a matter of fact, if they carried the load of a battery pack on their back or within their cells, they couldn't move freely in those little tiny capillaries throughout the body system carrying blood. So it's quite amazing, because God knew what needed, the jobs, that everything that your body needed to be assigned to, and your body knows its assignment. The red blood cells doesn't have to relearn anything. It automatically already knows what its purpose is and how to get the job done. So let's take a look at a compression spring. So the mitochondria is kind of like a compression spring, where every time it compresses, it creates that ATP. And every time the spring is released, it releases ATP. So it compresses, making ATP, and releases, expressing ATP. And that's that powerful fuel for every cell's energy source. And it stores energy, providing the power for digestion, body movement, repairing, renewing our tissues and bones, and keeping our hearts and lungs pumping blood, oxygen, and nutrients where they need to go. Each molecule goes through the energy cycle, breaking down and building up. So the problem arises when your body begins to break down, but it doesn't have the energy to build back up. As a matter of fact, your cells need the energy to kick into gear and enough energy to actually start the action, but it also needs energy to stop the action. Let's say, for instance, that it has an inflammatory response, which is a normal part of the body's function. Like kind of like fire trucks going to a fire to put the fire out. And then all of a sudden, they don't have enough energy to turn off the fire trucks. And then you get drowned with water and you get an overload of something that you don't need. So your body has to have that gentle expression of energy to crank it up, get it started, get it going, and also needs the energy to slow it down and turn the knob off and stop the inflammatory response. So magnesium plays a really big part in working with mitochondria, because it is a vital part of an energy cycle. And that's where magnesium plays a part of over, I think, 700 different chemical actions and reactions in the body. Magnesium ions are required in the energy transfer process. So in other words, if you don't have enough ions of magnesium flowing around in the cellular activity, then the energy can't transport the ATP. Without magnesium, the energy production is severely impaired, and has 3 highly bioavailable sources. Okay, so NeoLife has 3 highly bioavailable resources of magnesium with the phytomagnesium blend for additional phytonutrient benefits, and it's also chelated, which takes it to a whole new level of being bioavailable because of the chelated technologies. So a lot of people that go and get magnesium may be sensitive because it's only utilizing one pathway or one formula. And that is why we designed our magnesium to actually include 3 different formulas, double chelated, so that your body is getting what it needs at the cellular level when it needs it. Amazing difference. Mitochondria have 2 membranes. 2? Yes, 2 membranes. They have an outer membrane and an inner membrane. As a matter of fact, this is a high-tech security system controlling what goes in and what goes out. It actually has a 2-gate system, so it controls what's coming in the first gate. It's a little less discretionary what comes in through the first gate, but it's a whole lot high-tech security coming through the second gate. So if something foreign happens to pass through the first gate, it ain't getting through the second access entrance. This is why a mitochondria has 2 membranes. It permits minerals and nutrients like that magnesium and molecules to penetrate and pass through both of these membranes. And then the perils of mitochondrial dysfunction. What happens to the body when the mitochondria is, well, acting amok, meaning it's out of order, or it's just not functioning correctly because of different reasons? Well, the DNA begins to malfunction, the RNA begins to malfunction, the lipids malfunction, proteins, cells, renewal, and immunity. Well, that's just about who you are, isn't it? Your proteins, your cells, the ability to renew, the ability to regenerate new tissue, the ability to have an immunity, all is affected because if your mitochondria is knocked down and can't get back up again. The steady state of health gets compromised and leads to an excessive reactive oxygen species, ROS, production. So this is kind of what I talked about before, is when there's not enough energy to shut it off, then it overreacts. And when it continues to overreact, then that's when you get an autoimmune situation in production here. And over time, this will advance to a metabolic disease. Now, what is a metabolic disease? It's just about what's killing the #1 killer of Americans and spreading rapidly around the world. And it's called diabetes. It's called cancer. It's called cardiovascular diseases, or it's called neurological issues. That's metabolic disorder. So in other words, you could say you have a mitochondrial dysfunction that is driving metabolic disorder. So these are the things that your body desperately needs to protect your mitochondria in order to help you protect against chronic metabolic disease. So let's take a look. Deficiency has a cascading of effects. What do you mean by cascading of effects? Well, I mean that it's at the top of the list that if that malfunctions, everything else down that cascade of that waterfall begins to malfunction. Chronic inflammation we talked about, oxidative stress, out of control, oxidative damage, energy production is down, speeds up aging process, lowers immune function, impairs quality of life, because this is all about your quality of life, and reduces activities. So in other words, it's going to reduce the activity in which your bodies can renew the cellular renewal or tissue damage repair, or regeneration that has to happen on a daily basis, especially knowing all of the things that we're being hit with on a daily basis. That's in the environment, that's in our food, that's in our water. So we need to have our mitochondria pumped up, strong, and ready to go and ready to roll with the perfect amount of energy. So let's take a look at common medications that causes further loss of our mitochondria, or our CoQ10, that causes mitochondria dysfunction. Now, I'm going to show the next slide, and it's going to show a whole list of some, not all, of the medications that actually impair mitochondrial function. Statin drugs, #1, because they completely block the pathway of the mitochondria receiving its transfers of energy and ATP. And then also the class of psychotropic drugs have documented toxic mitochondrial effects, many of which block key enzymes in the electron transport chain of the mitochondria. Statin drugs are #1 on that list. Acetaminophen, if you take a lot of any kind of over-the-counter pain meds, this is why they're telling you do not take Tylenol if you have COVID, because it actually stops the production of glutathione, which the mitochondria helps to produce the glutathione, a natural body antioxidant. And it impairs the body from producing its own energy production to charge up, crank up, and recharge up your immunity, your natural immune system. So a specific list of mitochondrial disruptors may look like this: antidepressants, pain relievers, blood pressure medications, cholesterol medications, diabetic medications, antibiotics, anti-anxiety, benzodiazepines, whatever, Klonopin. And these are the things that we just about listed what America is consuming here in prescription medications, haven't we? Oh my goodness. So what are we doing to our bodies when our body needs this mitochondrial function the most? Then all of a sudden you're giving it a medication to go, oh, back down, boys. We're going to mask the symptoms over here, and we're going to just going to keep going on zero energy. Really? Oh, wow. That's why it develops a cascading effects of symptoms that just begin to collect because of this deficiency and what we're doing to the mitochondrial function. So taking a look at pro-vitality that NeoLife provides from basic core nutrition is quite amazing to keep your mitochondria happy. Why? Because you got to start at the foundation. If you don't start from the foundation, then you go and hit and miss and hit and miss, and the odds are you're going to miss more than you hit. So the pro-vitality provides 4 basic core nutrients that the body is deficient in. And it has to have that TRANN, which we talked about for that cellular membrane. It has to have the salmon oil. It has to have a powerful punch of antioxidants coming from the carotenoid family, and then 21 vitamins and minerals, all from a trusted whole human food source. So for an active lifestyle, you need the pro-vitality, and you need to stay active with your energy levels. Sedentary lifestyle will actually drain your mitochondria levels. Hydration is important. Stay hydrated with purified water. Eating healthy, making healthy choices with our food, not eating out of a box or a can or a bag or fast foods, but cooking at home and preparing it yourself and making wiser choices. Sleep is a great pattern of health and restoration that actually helps to restore the mitochondria. Reducing levels of stress, I call it remunerating. Stop remunerating. So what do you mean by remunerating, Lavon? Well, stop playing the scenario over and over in your mind. For instance, let's say that somebody said something negative to you 10 years and 4 days ago, and you're still remunerating over it. Oh, I wish that person had said that. I wonder if it's true. It hurts me so much. Oh, stop. Put the brakes on that. Renew your mind with the word of God. Renew your mind with good things. Put good things into your mind, and recognize how the mind is beginning to remunerate over the things that can put the brakes on the mitochondria activity, and begin to think about things that can put the gas pedal to the mitochondria, the charge to the mitochondria activity. Boosting your immunity, absolutely. The things that are in the pro-vitality pack will help boost your immunity, especially the carotenoid complex, and increasing nutrition. That's why we do this core nutrition with the pro-vitality, is because you need to increase your core nutrition. We're no longer living in a time where it's optional to supplement for our nutritional needs to be met. It's essential. So we shouldn't call them vitamins. We shouldn't call them supplements. We should call them, I'm taking my essentials today. How about you? So then we take a look at vitamin E. Why? Because vitamin E is the king of antioxidants. I recently discovered that 80% of Americans are deficient in vitamin E. And when they're going out there and buying vitamin E, 98% of the vitamin E out there is synthetic, coming from a petroleum byproduct. What? Yes, and this is why some of the latest studies showing about vitamin E shows that it actually drives cancer, drives oxidative damage, drives inflammation, because they use synthetic petroleum byproduct vitamin E in their studies. But how about the vitamin E that God created that's found in nature? Well, that's the one I'm putting in my body, and that's the one that I hope you will understand the value of to put in your body. Vitamin E from cold-pressed wheat germ oil. Vitamin E that has the complete bio available or profile family of all 8 E's in it. It happens to be the most important fat soluble in cell membrane, assisting in protecting mitochondrial membrane integrity, and plays a role in the energy process pathway. So vitamin E, as we learned, magnesium, pro-vitality pack, and the vitamin E plays an important role in mitochondrial energy production. And by the way, there's vitamin E in the pro-vitality too. How about calcium, magnesium, D? A lot of people need in today's world, remember, these are essential. So you need extra magnesium, you're going to need extra calcium and D. And the CalMag D from NeoLife has the 2-to-1 ratio that is readily absorbed because it is coming from the human food chain. It is also chelated, double chelated for a high bioavailability ratio inside the body. Amazing difference from your calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D. Super B is also really important for helping assist your mitochondrial activity in the body, keeping them healthy, keeping them strong, because they have a variety of essential functions in the human body specific for energy production. All the Bs play a role in normal mitochondrial function and regulation. So you could almost say that if you're deficient in any one of the Bs, you're going to be impairing your mitochondrial function. And so I love the fact that Super B actually has all 8, the whole family profile of Bs. It also has inositol and choline in it for added support. And it also has a target delivery and a sustained delivery of literally hitting the cells with our Super B complex for a solid 12 hours. That's amazing. Doesn't just hit and then flush. It hits and stays steady at the cellular level, helping your mitochondria stay strong. This is a beautiful evidence of technology that makes a difference at the cellular level. How about Super C also, because have benefits beyond conventional roles and necessary biochemical reactions. As an antioxidant, they can quench ROS, which is your oxidative damage inside the cells, and limit oxidative stress. So vitamin C also plays, now this is a water-soluble antioxidant. So your fat-soluble E works with the membrane, and the water-soluble vitamin C works with flushing the cell out, the toxins, and receiving the nutrient inside the cell, limiting the amount of stress that that cell is under on a daily basis. Now, how about CoQ10? Oh, this is where we're going to do some camping out here, is CoQ10. Why? Everybody's talking about the mitochondria now, right? With the C word and you know, helping to boost and build your immunity and autoimmune diseases and things like that. What role does CoQ10 play? Well, it's the main key component to your mitochondria functioning. The levels of your CoQ10 is going to determine the health status of your mitochondria. Woohoo! Wow. So it's one of those essential antioxidant found in the body membranes. Here you go again, nurturing that membrane of those cells. Very little in the bloodstream. So in other words, if you go down and you have a blood test run and you want to see what your CoQ10 levels are, it's not going to give you a very accurate level because they're found in the membrane, not in the bloodstream. Blood tests are not an accurate determiner of the presence of CoQ10, because you see, CoQ10 needs to be present inside the cell. And this is, I hope you grasp this, because we're going to talk about the importance of the technology and the source of your CoQ10. CoQ10 is the most important antioxidant in the function of mitochondria membranes. It also plays a factor in the production of ATP. That's that energy, recharge, renew, restore, rebuild, shut down, shut up, crank her back up again. Let's start all over, boys. It also is a primary source of energy. They are signaling molecules for cell turnover and renewal. So if you want your cells to communicate properly, you want your mitochondria to have full signal and communication, you've got to have full levels of your CoQ10 functioning inside that cell membrane. So here is an actual article that was found talking about CoQ10 and its targeting power on helping to boost the immune system and fight viruses like the C19 one. So I wanted you to see this is not just hearsay, but there's quite a bit of studies that's being done on this. And this is one of them right here from this PubMed study. And also, I want to show you some other studies that were done, and I'm going to actually pull this over because I'm going to scroll this down. This is studies about the heart, from the heart to blood pressure to training as an athlete for energy and stamina and vitality, to cardiovascular health, to heart rates, heart rhythms, to dramatically improving the energy production of the heart, to headaches and migraines, and CoQ10 playing a major part in migraines. Yes, CoQ10, a deficiency in CoQ10 is a deficiency in brain energy. And when the brain energy is low, you are susceptible from everything from Alzheimer's to migraines. How about dental health, gingivitis, and gum disease? CoQ10 levels need to be high to protect you. How about autoimmune issues? Again, we talked about that. Knowing how to crank up those levels of energy to supply the body's needs, and then knowing how to turn off the mechanism of the inflammatory index. And how about, in fact, I'm going to pull this over here because I want you to see, I think, no, okay, let's see if I can, the next, well, it didn't pull down, but I had on this platform, it's not going to be able to let me scroll down, but I actually had more studies to show you. But the NeoLife CoQ10 is the solution. And why? Because it's different from all the other CoQ10s out there in the market. How is it different? Well, it's a powerful nutrition to promote cellular energy. We talked about that. Boost overall energy and stamina. We talked about that. Support cardiovascular health. Enhance muscle cell energy production renewal. Support muscle development and retention. Reduce muscle pain, soreness for your athletes, for your working out. Protection against any kind of medications you might be on. Supporting cognitive health in the brain. Vision and eyes and hearing. Oh, wow. And alleviating the chances of migraines. Wow. So adding my program to headaches, talking about headaches, I always add a program of salmon oil, CalMag. I'm adding CoQ10 to that picture too now. The NeoLife CoQ10 Solutions has L-cysteine in it. So it's a complex and rate limiting amino acid needed for glutathione production. So in other words, it has extra L-cysteine in it. Why? Because L-cysteine is the amino acid that assists in the production of glutathione. And your mitochondria also assist in the production of glutathione. Then your CoQ10 assists the mitochondria to make more glutathione. See how this picture rolls? Supporting mitochondrial function, strengthens intercellular protective systems. We talked about that double wall inside the mitochondria. Has coconut, NCT oil, and sunflower oil for lecithin added in this complex, because there's certain things that have to happen for CoQ10 to not just show up in the blood, but literally get inside that cell membrane and be able to do what CoQ10 is designed to do for your mitochondria. The NeoLife CoQ10 contains 100 milligrams of this crucial antioxidant, but also has a blend of supporting ingredients, which helps improve the bioavailability and uptake of CoQ10 into our system. So this is what's important. Is you might say, well, this formula over here is synthetic. Well, what's the odds of that synthetic actually getting into the cell and actually functioning, helping that cell function better and getting a benefit from it and not damaging the liver? You see, a synthetic vitamin might actually give you some benefit. Woohoo, Levon, what did you just say? I can't believe you just said that. A synthetic might give you some benefit, but in the long run, when it hits the liver's going, what is this? So it's going to actually give you a backlash from the liver. And who wants that? So here is the world's first and only whole human food sourced CoQ10. Wow. And it has the phytosterols from whole grains, the lecithin from sunflower, medium chain triglyceride oil from coconut, to all aid in keeping your CoQ10 in a liquid form to help enhance bioavailability and absorption. Oh, that's a mouthful. But what that means is that you want that CoQ10 to not only get into your bloodstream, but you want it to stay suspended in that lipid base so it reaches its destination, the membrane of the cell, and then it penetrates the membrane of the cell and goes to work without being knocked down before it can get up. Wow, that is the difference. That's the difference that NeoLife makes. That's the difference that NeoLife actually takes down the journey of being different from anybody else. So when I first started sharing NeoLife, which was about 9.5 years ago, I went to one of the scientists and I said, we need a CoQ10. We're desperate. That's part of, the body's, production of energy. And a lot of these medications are blocking it. And I'll never forget John Miller smiling at me and saying, Levon, we know we need CoQ10. We know the function of it. We know the benefit of it. We also know that it's essential and everyone's deficient in it. But he said, because of our philosophy of being whole human food, he said, there's not one CoQ10 out there that is derived from whole human food source. It's all synthetic. But he put that little Cheshire grin on his face and he said, we're coming very, very close. Because of our pioneered research in cellular nutrition with Trey and N, we're about to release the world's first whole human food, CoQ10, that not only shows up a little bit in the bloodstream, but literally knows how to get to the cell membrane and how to activate that amazing support system for the mitochondria. Wow, we got it. We did it. And here it is, the NeoLife CoQ10 solution. NeoLife proprietary polyphenol blend has a polyphenol blend. Why? Because you need to protect that CoQ10 from being oxidized before it enters the cell. So all the other CoQ10s is synthetic, number one. All the other CoQ10s is going to get oxidized before it even gets to the cell to get a job done for you to create a benefit. This is why we maximize our benefits. Natural whole food source polyphenols from red grapes and wine. Wow, resveratrol, extra antioxidants and mitochondrial protection is added to our CoQ10. The addition of a proprietary blend of great polyphenols, including resveratrol, helps to lower oxidative stress from ROS and avoid oxidation of the CoQ10. Now, who thinks like this, NeoLife? Who goes to the utmost extent to actually ensure that we get a CoQ10 from human whole food sources, number one. Number two, that it's protected. Number three, that it's formulated in a way that will literally penetrate the cell membrane, show up, and get a job done. Wow, amazing. It also has the NeoLife mitogenic phytolipid and sterol blend, which, because of our pioneer in TRANN, that's the reason why we were able to pioneer the world's first whole human food natural CoQ10. So NeoLife mitogenic, natural whole grain lipids and sterols, 4 powerful natural phytosterols, all 4 natural rice-derived tocotrienols, and that is a vitamin E, by the way. Amazing, amazing resources. We also do something in our lab to make sure that it not only dissolves, but it disintegrates. It has a dilution and a dispersion. And this is something that NeoLife goes through on all of our formulas to make sure that their disintegration is within a 2-minute time frame. Wow. So our CoQ10 test out a 2-minute disintegration time. So it's the 3D advantage: disintegration, dissolution, and dispersion. So a standard of excellence, and here I go. I like to compare. Here is NeoLife. It's naturally sourced. Yep. How about Herbalife? How about USANA? How about Kirkland? No, 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 no. L-cysteine for glutathione production. Yep. No, 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 no. Phytolipid and sterol enrobed. Yep. On the NeoLife. Questionable on Herbalife, and no, 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 no. Protected polyphenols, no, 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 no. And the 3D advantage, no, 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 no. So here is actually a grid to show you how it compares with a standard of excellence. And it all depends on what you want to put in your body: higher quality, or you just want to play a guessing game with your health, which I wouldn't recommend that. So the NeoLife CoQ10 solution actually sustains the CoQ10 levels and enhance bioavailability because of that. So in other words, it's raising the CoQ10 levels and it's sustaining the CoQ10 levels over long periods of time. And then the next is the NeoLife CoQ10 solution is over a lifetime, we actually decrease as we age in our levels of CoQ10 in the body and our mitochondria ability to produce mitochondria and the health function of the mitochondria. So the CoQ10 actually is sitting there as the #1 core essential nutrient to boost the production of, sustain the production of your mitochondria. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day using the CoQ10 as its source of energy. Natural ubiquitin declines without supplementation. The NeoLife Solution, naturally sourced CoQ10, NeoLife mitogenic phytolipid and sterol blend, NeoLife proprietary polyphenol blend, L-cysteine, enhanced bioavailability. So I think we understand the power of getting our CoQ10, our vitamin E, our CalMag, our magnesium, our vitamin C into our body on a daily basis, starting with the Pro Vitality and our core nutrition to get our nutritional needs met. Why? Because we're living in a time where it is essential to meet our core nutritional needs. And what better way to do it with a quality, high quality standards that NeoLife provides. So thank you so much for listening tonight. You guys have a blessed Christmas. And if I'm recording this, so I'll send it out. And if anybody's watching this, get back with the person that invited you to listen to this presentation. And by all means, get back with them and ask how you too can start putting these amazing supplements or essential nutrients into your body. I'm going to stop the